I just watched an interesting interview with Iranian-born and U.S. citizen and journalist Christian Amanpour, interviewing the president of Brazil on CNN about President Trump's tariffs and policies impacting Brazil and geopolitics, statecraft, economic warfare. This is all taking place to shape the global marketplace and the balance of power. It's really exciting. It's a global chess game. I enjoy watching it as a student of global affairs who earned a master's degree in international relations from New York University and have extensively studied this topic, traveled to 90 nations, lived in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe. So I'm a big fan of this topic and how the nuances of diplomacy work on a global scale. I've also traveled to Brazil 3 times. I love the country. It appears President Trump, a fiercely nationalist president, although his domestic deregulatory approach to industry does not benefit American workers or consumers for the most part, he is seeking to influence Brazil's president, Lula da Silva, to be less nationalistic in favor of Trump's friend, former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, if I'm saying it correctly, forgive me if I did not, who advocated for market liberalization, deregulation, and privatization of state companies, paving the way for American companies to get involved and profit by doing business in Brazil. So it's rather ironic that President Trump's brand of nationalism is pursued and implemented at home in the United States, but is opposed abroad when implemented by other world leaders to protect their own development and nations and economic interests. So it seems a bit hypocritical, but I'm not surprised because the United States typically has utilized a foreign policy of bribes and bombs, carrots and sticks. You do it our way or you suffer punishment and consequences. But that doesn't seem very just or fair or equitable. But nonetheless, as an American citizen, I've benefited from it irregardless. But I do think and see the wisdom of Lula's approach to diplomacy and using international organizations and institutions such as the United Nations and the World Trade Organization and the BRICS, Russia and Iran and China and other nations that are trying to build a global network and alliance to combat the American hegemony. And already China has built strong relations with Brazil and is even contemplating working to build a railway to Peru to be able to speed up and facilitate the shipping routes in a greater way and thereby bypass the Panama Canal. So there's much to be said of working together harmoniously rather than opposing economic sanctions on a nation and threatening them and bullying them into submission. And I think the United States has much to learn in that regard. And though we may benefit from globalization at times, it seems now we're seeking to benefit from nationalism, but yet not allow other nations to pursue nationalism in their own sovereign nations, which seems rather hypocritical. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. I voted for President Trump the first term, not the second, as I did President Bush the first term, not the second. I've also voted for President Obama. I'm neither a Democrat or Republican, so before you try to label me or demonize me, realize I'm pro-American, but also pro the world and justice and truth and hoping to have peace in our world and prosperity for all. I believe there's enough abundance to go around and we don't have to have unnecessary wars without end. And I pray the best for both the United States and Brazil and all the nations around about us and in between. And may God bless you wherever you are on the earth listening to me.